See what it does. Okay, so apparently we're live on the correct, and we're off of the other one. There's two lives. There's one Escape the Matrix, and then there's one that's 9/11. Oh my gosh, I just realized it's 9/11. Okay.
Hey, if you're talking, well, I can see you talking, but you muted, well, your speaker's out or something because you can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Okay, so Trace, it's
I
live,
can't
it's live
hear you at
streaming.
all.
I guarantee I'm talking. Just mute me out on this side, watch me over on the other one. But we are live, and I'm just gonna click it, make sure, and I should hear myself doing some feedback right now. Yep.
Well, I'm gonna leave out and come back in because I can't hear you.
All right, no, we're good. We're golden. So welcome everybody. 2023, September 11th. I just realized it was the epitome of attacks from within against our country. Horrific event took place on 9/11. It was 2 days after my last child was born. 2 days before, excuse me, and it was the hardest thing in the world to watch. If y'all want to know how I feel about 9/11, I created a show on it, and it's somewhere. It hasn't been taken down, but I guarantee it's we're restructuring all of our videos. We're restructuring all the naming of everything. We're restructuring hisadvocates.org. We're restructuring hisadvocates.tv. We're trying to streamline everything so people have a cohesive 1 through 330, and they can understand and watch and figure out how to get there quickly, kind of a thing. Because I know we hawked up a big one and threw it up against the wall over the years, and now we're just cleaning up the mess and trying to make it a cohesive thing that people can understand and get to quickly and watch. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with our chaos. And we've been trying to implement shows and things that are interesting, that people can learn why we've done what we've done. I will say this for the people that are new in this and just figuring this out and watching, there's a lot of people out there talking all kinds of things, of ways to become free. There is nothing in the public law to support anything other than state citizenship. People want you to believe that the words national of the United States, state, national are ways to become free. They're traps. No better way to put it, by the United States corporation. And I've created video content to prove it. I don't know why they just don't want to allow for people to, I mean, I know why, but I don't know why they just don't do what they're supposed to do. I mean, I know why about that too. I mean, it's about money and control and power. And now they want to take over and foreclose on, they foreclosed on the well, theoretically under a color of law, not actual, but the corporation foreclosed on all the land, all the gold, all the banking system, the way that we do money, the way that we do everything. And now they're foreclosing on you, the people. So we're on a fast track trying to teach people and make these systems and processes. Hisadvocates.tv on your phone, Android, Apple. Download the app. It's going to be cleaned up over the next week and a half, 1 through 350, whatever, on all of our shows. Everything is going to be outlined. Just get it, click follow on there so you get notices when we go live. We're on Roku, Amazon Fire, Android TV, Apple TV, soon to be Samsung TV, soon to be LG TV as a channel provider, network channel. We're one of just a few thousand channel providers, network channel providers on television, on those brands. And I'm very shocked that we were able to get approved with the video content that we have on people like Apple TV, of all people. But thank you for hanging out and watching. And we have this Q&A every other Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific. This is how it works. Our customer service, we try to make it stellar. We don't want people to have questions. We want people to have solutions and answers. So For everybody that's coming into the Living in the Private, we make this 4 o'clock every other Monday available. And everybody that's already in the Living in the Private, we give multiple ways that they can get their questions answered. 1 is an online support ticket, 2 is a phone number, 3 is a rep, 4 is the Q&A, and 5 is a private consult, because sometimes there's nuances that people have that they need to get answered that aren't maybe included in the Living in the Private, and they might be outside. So they might have a big business, they might have different things, different issues and whatever, but we answer all questions and we give people a truthful summary of how to get things accomplished. And we're an answer-based system. We've been through it with thousands of clients. This isn't our first rodeo. We have no complaints, and that says something about who we are, because we have a team of people that love to serve, that love the people, and we want to free this nation. And we're working hard and fast on everything that we can to get things automated, to get things functionally fast, and so that people are getting their questions answered. So we only have one pre-submitted question. And if you're here on the live Zoom meeting over on hisadvocates.org, I'm going to ask it, if you have any questions, post them in the Q&A right there on the bottom left. And that way, as I'm answering questions, you think it's something, you're more than welcome to ask another question. If you're on the live stream right now, I'm going to pull up the Tracy, you're going to watch the comment section and you're going to post those comments into the Q&A over here. I don't have time to be able to see both. I am opening up chats. Thank you, Trace.
You're very welcome.
All right. So first question, if me and my work buddies come out, when, I think is the thing you were saying, everybody wants out. It's critical. After being pulled out of the system, our taxes are removed. How do we as state citizens help pay for, contribute to the safety of our county, country, from other countries, and our jobs, since we work at a research facility for the government? First, okay, so we have answered that indirectly, probably 100 different ways on the element of IRS, state tax, employment related taxes, but I've never had that question. How do we contribute to the safety of our country from other countries and our jobs? First and foremost, I don't think you think that you're contributing right now to the safety of your country from other countries. I think our country is wide open for attack right now. I don't think $1 of taxation is going to the safety or security of Americans. Secondly, there is one group out there making strides that have re-inhabited the republic and are constantly trying to rebuild the counties one county at a time, are nowhere near where they need to be. I'm proud that I was a part of the reorganization of the republic and reseating those seats. But if you can imagine the attacks, the strides, the literal arrests that came around to try to shut that down, just like they're doing Donald Trump. No different. They do not want to see this nation succeed. They don't want to see you succeed, Jason. What I would suggest is doing what we're doing right now, which is starting a private foundation and doing whatever God puts on your heart with the savings on the taxation to do the efforts and the work of the ministry, which is to free people, meaning do whatever God tells you to do with that money. And you're going to be doing on a tax savings basis, and you'll have a lot of extra money to try to figure it out. You can donate it to organizations that you vet. I'm doing a ton of different things. We have multiple different income streams to fund children that are being kidnapped across this country. Over 500 kids, 500,000 children disappear in this nation every single year. That's near and dear to my heart. I've been spouting that off for years and years. And so I invest and put money into organizations that are going into the fight fully armed and doing whatever they can to free kids. And so the first movie that came out about that actually recognized and said, yeah, 6 million plus worldwide are being kidnapped every year. I'm like, oh my God, they actually admitted it on the big screen that it's happening, because the FBI website is where I got that data. And nobody believed me. And I even I created a show about it, talked about it, and put people, trying to get people to invest and donate to his advocates for that cause. And we were going to send 100% of those funds to those causes. You know, it's very hard to get people to get behind anything, because we're in the system of being broke. We're in the system of debt. We're in the system of a collapse, and it's all done by design. So the best thing that we can do is anything that we are able to bring forward and procure, is to put whatever God has put on our heart, and donate to that. You know, you're not gonna save your country one person at a time. It's only going to be a force. It's only going to be a military that's going to be able to defend against another military. I think we get that. So I'm hoping that God intervenes here. And, you know, I look at it like this way. Here's a great way to answer that question. You know, when I feel like it's so overwhelming, like there's too many things to think about, like the republic, like the corporation, like taxation, children missing, GMOs, the different things going across the world on a big major basis. When I think about that, the only thing I think about is, if everybody just does, every obedient child of God, if everybody does what God puts on their heart and executes, you're going to see the plan come together. I have this one little area niche that I figured out how to free people. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to execute that. I'm one small little twig on branch on God's big tree. And I think if people start listening to the heart of what God tells them to, we're giving them the mechanism. We're giving them the foundations that are tax-free, that outside of the jurisdiction. We're giving them the structure of personal freedom, a state citizenship. We're giving them the ability to think through and how to defend themselves against attacks from the federal government or state governments, and forced this or forced that. We're giving them structures and support and how to come against those things. But I think your clear-cut answer, and this is beating around the bush in a big way, is if everybody just does what God puts on their heart, God's going to resolve the conflict, or God's going to return, and he's going to sit down in the seats in his kingdom that he brings. I mean, he doesn't need us, obviously, but he is constantly using his people to bring about resolving conflict. And I'm seeing that there are more good things that are happening because people listen to what God is putting upon their heart. I'm seeing more good things are happening, but you're not going to see it on YouTube. You're not going to see it on the news. You're not going to see it in all these organizations, because they don't want you to see it. They want you to be blind to the truth. They want you to, you know, the school system doesn't want to teach you freedom. The media doesn't want to teach the truth. You know, we have so many issues, but it's exactly what the word says. What's right will be wrong, and what's wrong will be right. I just want freedom. I just want to do what God tells me to do. And where God tells me to put, I put. And where God tells me to withdraw, I withdraw. And I think if everybody started doing that, all the pieces of this puzzle will come together. But to defend this country like you're suggesting, it's going to require military. And I think if even God could use the people, and especially in this nation, whatever the number is, 750 million guns, I'm sure we'll handle small skirmishes. I don't think they're going to do direct. I think it's going to be indirect, energy weapons, different things like that. I think it's going to be a soft coup. They've been doing a soft coup for years now. I think that's going to continue. I think any direct invasion would be overwhelming. There's too many rednecks in this nation that have courage and have firepower and have will. And I think they know that. And I think that that's why, because they know that they have to program AI to divide us. They have to program AI through social media, through media, whatever, to create systems and lies and make people think that everybody's against one another. I watched a teacher and a student argue about being called Miss, and her last name versus they or them, and the teacher got right in her face nice and said, I'm not going to call you they them. That is improper grammar. You are in my classroom. I'll refer to you as Miss boom boom boom. This is where we are as a nation. It's an absolute joke, and don't think God's not going to deal with that very harshly very soon. If he already isn't, there's things going on that we don't see, and the hearts of men and women have got to turn back to God. Don't worry about where your tax goes. Just put it in the right spot, wherever God tells you to put it. I as Treasury of the Republic, I could tell you to put it into an account for the Republic. We are not ready to spend it, meaning on a mass basis. God hasn't told me to go out and ask for money for the Republic, and I've been Treasury of the Republic for over 10 years. I'm not there yet. What does it matter? Let me ask it to you this way. What does it matter if you have Republic, if you don't have the people? That's what's been on my heart for 10 years. The Republic people trying to be free and come under God are largely a bunch of complaining US citizens at best. They don't have a clue of what coming out is. They don't have a clue of what being free is. The majority of the Republic, sad to say. There's very few people that get that your contracts matter. Let me give you another Jasher. Is that it? Or is it Jasper? No, I think it's Jasher. One of the apocryphal. Tracy, help me. One of the things that I read.
Yes, it's Jasher.
One of the things I read that blew my mind and makes me believe why they took the book out is Israel was on a slow track with Egypt to becoming enslaved. They were actually paid by Egypt at first. Guess who did not contract with the Egyptians? And guess what part of Israel never became slaves of the Egyptians? The Levites. It was by contract that those people in Israel in those days of pre-Exodus, it was the contracts of those people that said, yes, I want to continue to work. And it was Egypt's slow withdrawal of their own men from the hard labor work. And then at that moment, after the slow withdrawal of all Egyptians, they cracked the whip on the ones that were left over, the 11 tribes. Yet the Levites weren't a part of it. And who was it that was able to go in and out and operate? And who was it? And think about these things. I mean, we can go back to, and here we are today where we are being taught the same principle. They're doing a soft coup of slavery against the people, if you will. It's an economic coup. You're an economic slave. But now the literal slave is trying to be enforced. They're trying to crack the whips against the people, whether it's with chips, whether it's with digital currency, whether it's whatever. And then guess what? It'll be $2,000 a month if you get the chip, just like they did the soft coup, the wages to the Israelites to do the hard labor. Then they withdrew their people, and then they cracked the whip once everybody was in the pit, and there was nothing. They withheld their wives, they withheld their children, they withheld everything against them if they didn't do that labor for free. That's no different than what we're doing right now. And we have today the same thing. It's all election. It's all free will. It's got to be free will to go to choose God. It's got to be free will to go and choose and be a slave to Satan. And I'm telling you right now, we are there. We're in these times in which God's going to fund the Republic. God's going to tell us when to turn that key to that. And God's going to make available private banking or whatever it is. God's going to make available all these things. I think the answer, and by the way, one of the things I haven't addressed with you, you have a governmental job. I got to ask, is it by contract or are you an employee? If it's by contract, your foundation is perfect for it. If you're as an employee, good luck with trying to convince them to take you off, to make you a resident, non-resident alien, or to make you a state citizen, and to remove those tax rolls. I've seen many government workers become private as contractors, and I've seen many people as employees for the government quit and become contractors to get this, but I've yet to see a governmental position where they can withdraw the federal taxes, where they withdraw the from and still remain on as an employee. Because here it is, they don't, in their mind, I haven't seen anybody force HR of a governmental facility to determine that state citizenship is synonymous with non-resident alien, because they don't want to do that, because then you have a decree, if you will. But what I have seen is non-resident aliens, which you don't want to decree, get in under a W-8-BEN and become non-taxable. And there are people that will elect that by contract, but make sure that that when they're checking the box non-resident alien on the W-8-BEN, they're doing an asterisk, and down below they're putting state citizen. So you always want to be in honor when you're doing these things. When you're filling out their contracts, you always want to make sure that you have the honor, because you don't want it to bite you in the butt and come around full circle. But it is what it is. These things are extensive to do for you guys. The amount of work that we have to do to get this stuff done for you guys is enormous. But we are there 100% of the way from beginning to end. We see people get the process done from 5 months to 6 months to a year, sometimes a little bit longer. What's taking so long is the DOS on the passport and getting the certified copies of the passport application back. That's what's taking so long. Sean says, I guess if it is meant to be, you drop the price on your program to be free. We'll pray on that one too. Sean, if you have an issue with payment, give us a call. We help people. We make payment programs. We put people on super low monthly payments, and we help people. And so it's not about the money like a lot of people think. I know people want to make it about the money. We're into helping people, but we are a self-supported ministry. We don't have a congregation of people that are donating on a monthly basis. And we'll call again, extension 705, 703, and talk to us again and work something out. A lot of people don't understand, what it takes to do what we do. We write literally probably 60 documents for you. We create private foundations for you. We help you establish bank accounts. We help you with your passport education. We help you get your passport. We help you order certified copies. We help you create your active states. And we do a ton of training. We do a ton of customer service, a ton of work that we want to make sure that you understand who you are. Here's the thing, and this is for everybody. Here's the thing. Making somebody free, 10% is the paperwork. I know people want to make it 100, and I've been saying this for years. 10% is the paperwork. 90% understanding who you are. Many people don't get who they are in law. Many people have so much fear of government that they don't want to fill any paperwork out. And a lot of times they'll use that fear to stop them from making a decision to come out. I just want to say, you're not being asked to come out by us. You're being asked to come out by God. There's only one entity in the world with the tentacles across the entire world that has taken every birth certificate in the world and monetized it through the District of Columbia, through the Securities and Exchange Commission, through the United States, and made everybody human collateral, truly the large human trafficking entity in the world, the United States Corporation, with tentacles all over the world, which meets Revelation 16 through 18 to the T. And so when you get who the whore is, you don't want to participate. You don't want to pay. You want to completely come out as much as you can. And you want to dismantle in every way possible the whoredom and let God build up his kingdom, because that's next. And let God show you what your part is in that kingdom. And that's where I kind of think we are going. But we haven't turned anybody down. And if somebody says, I can't afford that, what can you afford is the next question. It's critical you understand that we are a small team. We're working a lot of hours to make sure we're trying to free people. And this is how we do it. I wish we had a congregation. Somebody said one time, but you're a ministry, you should be free. And I'm like, no, we're actually a self-supported ministry. And that's literally our name, HISadvocates, SSM, self-supported ministry, meaning we're not hands out saying donate, 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 and then operating off the donations. That's number one. Number two, to be frank with you, I have given this away to a lot of people, and the people that have no skin in it don't generally complete it. There's only a few people that we've given this away to, probably 10, that have completed it. And I don't know, it's because it takes time. And when you realize that you have to work, because there's a lot that is entrapped you. And let's start with how they entrap you. When you look at a warrant or indictment, all of us are thinking, we just want to be out. We 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 want to be left alone. We want to be left alone. So what do you look at? You look at warrants, how they gain access to your stuff. Indictments, how they gain access to your physical. And you look at how they have to establish subject matter jurisdiction on those docs. That's what we did. We looked at those and we reverse engineered them. See, it's not absolute. People, look, the feds want you to believe they have absolute autonomy over you. That's incorrect. The Supreme Court has already determined that. They do not have autonomy over you. They have to prove subject matter jurisdiction on warrants. They have to prove subject matter jurisdiction on indictments. So we took those and we reverse engineered them, and it was that simple. Make state citizens, show you where they can trap you in the law to gain jurisdiction on a warrant or an indictment, and show you how to operate in commerce without pledging your assets to anything but God. That's the living in the private program, and it's extensive and it's a lot. We have a diagram that shows people everything that we do on it. And when you see what we do to pull people out, it'll overwhelm you a little bit, but we have a lot of free people right now thanking us, supporting us, trying to figure out how to represent us and push this forward to their family, to their friends. And it's because we have a great back office. We have a good team that love you guys. We pray for you every week. We have a prayer service call on Sunday. We pray with everybody. It's been on my heart to pray for the people for a long time. And we've had 72, I think, consecutive prayer services on Sundays, not a church service, if you will. But I'm exclusively going after people that are misplaced, that don't have a church currently, and are seeing the fraud within their own church, if you will, or just are not sold in a modern day church. I'm giving them an opportunity to come and just hang out with a bro and pray. And that's a lot. Internally, our prayers have been weekly now for 13 years, going on 13 years. So we're very much an organization, whether you believe in God or not. We invite you guys. We do. You're going to get an earful straight up about what we believe. I tell people probably every week, number one is I want you free spiritually. And that's a relationship with one God or a son, which is still one God. And then I want you free physically. And then, but even if I free you physically, we have to help you to retrain your mind, to free your mind, because and that's what takes the time. And you got to go through our past VIP videos. See, for a long time, we were just throwing up videos on YouTube over and over and over. And YouTube took off our entire channel. And so I didn't have many of those videos organized on hisadvocates.org. So for the last 2 weeks, I've taken every VIP video since I think 2014. I can't find a few, and I've renumbered them, renamed them, and I've taken every hisadvocates.tv video and every info video and every video I've produced, and I've created about 500 videos. They're first going to be live on His Advocates TV app, which is the same thing as the website, hisadvocates.tv. Give me about a week or two, that'll be live over there. We're encoding hundreds and hundreds of videos as we speak. And the second place is we're going to restructure hisadvocates.org, so you can just watch them in sequential order. And then we got to go through the social media platforms and clean up all the stuff we splat up everywhere. So it's all cohesive, and we want to give people a way to understand how to free their mind, because that's basically what the VIP is for, is to show you what it took for me in my journey since 2007 to become free physically and mentally. Like, there's a lot that people worry about. I don't. And it's because I just know who I am, and I know where they gain jurisdiction, and I know how they cross over. And I'm not going to partake in any of that. I'm not going to do credit. I'm not going to have personal bank accounts. I'm not going to own anything. I'm not going to be anything in that regard. I'm just going to stay out and use things that I created for God, that Yeshua is the beneficiary of, that I am trustee of, executive director over. And those are the only types of entities that have no requirement to file a return, because they are private and they are not public. But see, here's this thing that sucks, and a lot of people don't realize just how contemptuous the IRS and the United States government is. Even though it's in their own code, they still want to create terms like private foundation, and that you have to report, and that you have to do this, and you have to have approval, and you have to have this. And I'm going to tell you right now, the private foundation under IRS code has nothing to do with our private foundation. It is a 501c3. It is not truly unregistered and private. That's the nefarious nature of the IRS trying to trick people back into jurisdiction. Oh, I got to notice them. Oh, I got to get approval. Oh, I got to get a tax exemption. No, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You just got to get your private foundation, open up your bank accounts privately, and go. It's the same thing with jurisdiction. They put people out there that have hundreds of thousands of views and millions of followers, and they talk about national, American national. There is no such thing that has the Supreme Court, that has the Declaration of Independence, that has anything supporting it. It's only found in U.S. code, something they created. And when you go to 8 U.S.C. 1101A21 and you look at that word and you click on the word state, there's not 50 several states of the union there. The only thing is there is a territory. Federal territories are listed. It's because it was designed. 8 U.S.C. 1101A21 was designed to trick people. It says a person, this is the definition of national, a person that owes allegiance to a state. That's designed to trick you into believing that's a state citizen in U.S. code. It is not. It is a lie. And so you have to realize in that lie, there's what is truth is what is synonymous with the Declaration. People that were colonialists, that came out, became individual estates, state citizens, children of God. If you were a party to the Declaration, if you made allegiance to the Declaration, if you said you were an American, you said God was king, which made you a child of God. Whether you like that or not, that's just a fact in law. That's just a fact that gave you the freedom of self-governance, of the freedom of a state of the Union citizen. All right, we got a question in the Q&A. Let me go there. I did a non-citizen national. We can help you undo that. That's pretty simple. I'm sorry. Yeah, the the non-citizen national or national of the United States, or the non-citizen national is 8 USC 1101-821. It's US code. Even those docs that those people are giving out there, you'll notice the affidavits all say national, but the supporting case law on the bottom of those documents is state citizenship case law. Why? Why are you making allegiance to being a national when the supporting case law, the hundreds of Supreme Court cases, show state of the union citizen? What does that mean? One of the several people declaring God as king. Declaration is their trust indenture, and that they are one of a body of people. So hold on. So it's critical that we get our minds wrapped around what we're alleging ourselves to, because we don't. And many people are making these declaratory statements saying I'm under US code, which when you make a non-citizen national declaration and you file it into the public and then you serve them with it, you're saying I'm utilizing US code, saying I'm a national. Let's just think about the word for a sec. National versus state. It's national versus state. You understand? See, state is not even what people realize. State isn't a region. State, it can be. It's one of the definitions, but it's not the one under the Declaration. State is a body of people. Black's Law, read it, lowercase definition of state's a body of people. Is it Californians? We call ourselves Californians. Just a body of people calling ourselves Californians. But the second we say we are a national and we quote 8 USC 1101-821 or don't quote it, the only term or definition that you are quoting, unless otherwise defined on your forms, is 8 USC 1101-821, which means you're a person making allegiance to the District of Columbia. Go look at 8 USC 1101-821 and look at Cornell, or any of them, but look at Cornell. I know 100% is there. Go look at 1101-821, and then the define, it says a person owes allegiance to a state. Click on state. Click on state. When you click on it, all the federal territories are there. None of the 50 several states of the union are there, because it was designed under public law, because that's what Cornell law did. USC, US code is defining public law. So the public law for the corporation created a word for the people, but defined it as people that were going to be operating in federal territory, but we're going to make them think they're synonymous with a state of the union citizen. Why? Why not just call them state citizens under 8 USC 1101-821 and then say that they are separate than a US citizen, which is what the Supreme Court has determined? Why not just do that? If national or national of the United States was the same as state citizen, why not just put state citizen and then define it that way right there in the public code or in the US code, which is public law? It's the attorney's way to define public law. Why not just put it there? Just because they want to trick you. And then they go get people that somehow get millions of views overnight, that somehow were self-elected, somehow are some guru all of a sudden. When my videos get taken down, when I just say the word V, or when I say the word freedom, or when I say whatever, my videos are taken down, but they got millions of videos talking about whatever they want, anything, carte blanche, millions of viewers. They get all the help and support they want to get their information, their product out for $30, for $50, for $75. We fail for a lack of knowledge. I wish it could be $30. There's too many contracts that we have done. There's too many ways that they've bamboozled us. There's too many ways they sucked us in that need to be dealt with. And that's what we do at HISadvocates. And it's a journey. But we can help you, and we can help anybody. So I'm just going to go through, see if I have any questions.
No, there aren't any more questions. already looked through
Yeah, you know
everything,
what?
but don't,
Go ahead, Trace.
I was gonna say, don't forget to let them know about the VIP show tonight.
Yeah. So six, for anybody that's coming on, we have a VIP membership show. We do probably every 2 weeks on, and we're excited to just talk about the mind part of freedom and the mind part of getting yourself out and wrapped around what that means. So just join us tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific. I appreciate we do these calls every 2 weeks to answer any question. Sometimes we've had 30 questions, sometimes we have one. And this is why you kind of heard me go on a rant, because we had one question tonight. But this is what it is. We're not learning state citizenship, but we're learning freedom. And that the term self-governance is probably been one of the biggest life lessons I've ever had to deal with. To become completely accountable for everything. And the fact that they're coming after us on every level of food, you name it, every level, there's a war against freedom. There's a war against knowledge. There's a war against blacks and whites, against police and everybody else. There's wars everywhere. And we have to know how to handle ourselves. This is why God said, don't be in debt. This is why God said, don't be the surety or the collateral for anything, because it is the same principle as in the book of Jasher. Come out of her, my people, the Levites, into slavery. Think about that. Think about that, meaning it was all an election to be a slave. And they were sucked in slowly, just like people are right now, towards that little ship that's going to go into a wrist or a forehead, sucked in. So here, we're going to give you a $2,000 a month because the world's collapsed. You need to get by. Here's 2,000 tokens in your digital account. You just need to get a little chip in here. Yes, you just need to work a little harder if you want to see your wife. You just need to work a little harder if you want to hang out and go home tonight and see your kids. Same principle. We're repeating history. We're doing a modern day exodus at HISadvocates. So God bless you guys. Thank you for listening. Hopefully some of you will be on a VIP show tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. Thank you. Thank you, Trace. Thank you, Kristen.